Welcome to Reclaim Your Life with Irina, the show that helps you heal from the inside out. In today's episode, we meet Eva Vennari, founder of the Elevate Institute, a spiritual alchemist who overcame chronic illness and an unexpected spiritual attachment. You learn how to use your intuitive gifts responsibly, integrate science with spirit, and embody self love onto your healing journey. Get ready to reclaim your life, discover inspiring stories, practical tools, and the path to true happiness. This is Reclaim Your Life with Irina. Let's begin the journey. Before we start the next conversation, I want to invite you to check out my amazing book, The Gift Inside, a powerful guide for healing your body, mind, and soul. Reclaim your strengths and awaken your true potential. Whether you are navigating heartbreak or simply seeking deeper fulfillment, this book offers the tools to turn your struggles into triumphs. It is time to unlock the gift within you. Available now on Amazon, or you can check it out on my website www.irinashehovtsov.com. She is Reverend Eva Vennari, the founder of Elevate Institute. She is a spiritual alchemist who focuses on removing blocks to achieving longevity and healing chronic illness in prime of life professionals. She loves to witness the character development of a person who wants to be better. And she is joining us from California. Welcome, Eva. It is a pleasure to have you.
It's so great to be here. Thank you, Irina.
Thank you. So please share with us who you are in your own words.
In my own words, I describe myself outside of the typical labels that people will call themselves. I'm a spiritual alchemist, but a child of God, let's say that. And I have these gifts that I'm still discovering, and I love to be able to use them to help others overcome their problems, whatever they are. And it always surprises me where it leads me, like here.
Awesome. I love that. I think we all have, gifts inside of us, and sometimes it takes a lifetime to discover them.
Yeah, that's for sure.
What are you passionate about?
That I think the character development, and I love to watch stories. I think a lot of people like to watch stories because of the character development. We kind of root for the underdog to go from where they are and life's a mess to let's succeed, let's be better about how we make our decisions, how we treat ourselves, how we love not only others, but essentially ourselves. And that character development is something that can be really messy. And I love to watch someone feel more empowered rather than helpless. That's a passion of mine.
That's very beautiful. Yeah, I think, the world would be a better place if people realized who they are, believed in themselves, and did the things that set their soul on fire, as opposed to being afraid or be crumbled by the limitations of the mind.
Yeah.
They're not realizing how capable they really are.
Yeah, and how much freedom there is right here between our ears.
Yeah, totally. What makes your heart sing?
Knowing that there is more to learn about, that if I only had this three-dimensional world to look at and play within, I think I would be absolutely bored. There is an existential part of us that is worth exploring, the eternal self and the universe and God and all things in it. And without that richness of the inner world, yeah, I would be bored. So it's worth exploration. It really is.
Very well said. What makes you happy?
Knowing that I have that rich inner world. So there's a lot of times I've noticed as I've matured spiritually, there's this place where we doubt whether or not we're being taken care of. And as soon as I took hold of and ownership of this space where I know the universe has my back and everything happens for me rather than to me, I went from this helplessness, a little bit of sadness, into this, I am part of something much bigger than me. That makes me happy.
Yay, totally. What was the moment in your life that caused you to wake up?
There's, we don't just awaken once, right? there was a series of events, and I think that it's one thing to be knocked down by life's experiences. It's another to not learn and go, oh, that was a message, right? So the message was finally received when at I guess you can call it a crisis moment. My ex-husband passed away, and we'd already been divorced for 12 years, but this was at a same point in time, a culmination of things. I had learned how to take care of my body, how to heal it from the 30 different chronic illnesses that I was dealing with for making poor choices, right? And so not knowing, thinking that I was doing the right thing, but I healed those chronic illnesses, became educated in that work, and decided I now have a way forward and I can probably help others. When my ex-husband passed away and he attached himself to my spirit body. It's a thing that can happen, and I didn't know anything about it. And those who don't believe, I don't care. It's my experience. You know, you can't talk me out of hearing your ex-husband here. It's like, oh my God, I'm not schizophrenic. I don't have an issue with my brain. This is a person who has died, no longer has a body, and decided that he wanted mine to finish out, his life history. So that was a turning point. That was a moment where I was like, I need to do something about this and learn more about the metaphysical and the spiritual world. And that was the start.
Wow. I never heard that one before. But incredible, and kind of caused you to... Were you a believer of metaphysical before this occurred, or this was something totally new for you? And how did you discover that he was attached to your author?
Great story. Yeah, no, this was a whole new level of understanding. I had been exposed to the work of Abraham Hicks. You've heard of her, right? Esther Hicks. She channels Abraham, the conscious collective. And that was some interesting work, and I learned about meditation. I had learned quite a few things. I understood at that point that I knew how to create the light to heaven, but I didn't know what to do with it. It's a rare gift. Not everybody has it. And it was that, like, how did I learn that he was attached to me and what to do about it? I had a few people in my life that had also introduced me to these other realms where I just spoke of. And I started to ask them, can you confirm what is attached to me? Because I literally could hear him talking to me here. And so I finally found a practitioner who was in touch with the spirit world. And I said, can you tell me what's happening? What do you feel is going on with my ex-husband? I think he's attached to me. And her first response was much like going to a doctor that doesn't believe you. Oh, no, they move on quickly. I doubt that's him. And I'm like, what are you trying to do? You call him crazy. So can you double check with your team? I know you're highly connected in the spirit world. Can you please ask them? So she puts down the phone so I can hear her, but she's not speaking to me. And I could hear her in the background go, uh-huh. And she's listening to her guides. Uh-huh. And she's listening more. And uh-huh. And she goes, oh, like that. So she had received some information. She comes back to the phone. She goes, yeah, he's attached to you. You're going to need a psychic surgeon. What is a psychic surgeon? So this was a whole bunch of questions. Talk about Pandora's box.
Wow. So a psychic surgeon, I didn't know those existed.
Well, just like I've labeled myself, spiritual alchemist. It's not a label that is common, right? So this person had branded herself the psychic surgeon, but what she was doing, audience might know him as a contract room specialist. So somebody who knows how to go into a contract room with a person through meditation and astral projection, and then clear the contracts between you and another soul. So she had that spiritual ritual knowledge. And so she took me into that world. That was the first I'd heard of any of this stuff. What? Constant questions. And so it was a huge learning experience. The other learning experience that really opened my eyes while I was in that astral travel and astral projection with her into the contract room, the space, I could see the details. So I could, like, if this was the room behind me, I could see, like, the window was the fireplace. I could see the fireplace. I could see the books on the wall. I could see the texture of the wall. And so she was describing to me what she was seeing, hoping to just bring me in on my imagination. And I started to finish her experiences. And I said, well, yeah, I see the two sconces on the wall, and I see the floor, and I can see the table. And she's like, you can see all of that? And I was describing it. And I says, yeah, isn't that normal? She goes, no, people don't come here with me. And so I discovered in that moment that I had clairvoyance is a thing. I just thought I had an active imagination. You know, as a kid, I always had this.
Wow.
New gift. Yeah. Clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentient, the clairs. The clairs were on for me, and I hadn't fully understood what they were. And now I did. And so that was the beginning of this little journey that brought me to where I am today.
Wow, incredible.
Yeah.
What were the 3 biggest lessons you learned as a result of this wake-up call?
That it's not so much about the gift that you have, it's how you use it. Mm-hmm. So that's a big one, is that if you have a spiritual gift, it's your right, your responsibility, and your duty to develop that gift so that you can be of service to your fellow mankind. It is not for you to sit there and use dubiously. Oh, I'm going to, cast spells. Good luck with that. So that's one. We have that right responsibility. If we have the ability, we've got the duty to develop it. And I think that's the second lesson, is that it's the biggest crime is to deny your fellows of that gift. You came in here with, this is my belief, you can believe it or not, but I believe that we all sign a contract with God that says, I'm here to solve this problem and help out my fellow mankind with this problem. And I'm going to do it, with these gifts. That's kind of an exchange right there. You get, it's a little bit of energetic exchange. You give me these gifts, I will help, with these problems. And in not doing that, we're denying the rest. So that's lesson 2. And lesson 3 is you never learn it all.
I love that. You never learn it all. So true. I think we continuously evolve on our spiral of life, and we get to learn more about ourselves and about the world in general. And the problem we used to have, let's say, a year ago, you probably laugh about those problems and don't even consider them as such. And now you have something new to explore, some new level as you grow. And, I also love that you mentioned that doesn't matter that you have a gift, it's how you use it. Sometimes we could spend a lot of time figuring out what our gift is. And once we know it, it is our duty and obligation to share it and help others, just like you say. And so true. And, biggest crime to deny people of your gift. Totally agree with that. So thank you. Now that you have had your wake-up call and you had those 3 biggest lessons, what is your mission now?
Is to live that. What the 3 lessons is to constantly be in a lifelong learning, to develop the gifts and be of service. And for me, that's gratifying. If I open up if you've ever been a student of human design and you look at my human design, it's definitely all about that. Everybody's different. I'm not saying everybody needs to come in with this desire to serve. Some people are here to be an accountant. You're still serving. Because I don't want to do that. But I love this spiritual development work. And so anyways, that's I think is the most important thing is to keep on this learning path and doing what feels in alignment, not only for that emotional place of gratitude and of satisfaction, it's also in alignment with your mission. Those 2 things have to match up for it to work. Otherwise, I have found if I do not follow this mission to heal and help improve humanity's experience so that they can be empowered, if I don't do that, I fail at anything else I try. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like I'm hitting my head against a brick wall in frustration. What am I doing wrong? Oh, I'm not on mission. Got it. Start over. Yeah.
Love that. Thank you. Thank you. And I think it is an important mission to continue to learn, to continue to share your gifts and uh, help heal. Yeah. Yes. Who was your hero growing up? Or did you have somebody you looked up to when you were little?
I don't have one particular, and I remember being very frustrated about this on my journey, and I would ask in prayer, where is my master to learn from? Like who am I supposed to learn from? And it took me to this. The answers finally came in as you are learning to be a master on the planet. Learning, it's not, you're not gonna, there's no end point in this destination. This is not a GPS towards, but it's just, you're not going to get there, but you're on your way, and you're going to learn from so many others, not just one. And I think that's true when I look back at that breadcrumb path of who I looked up to, all the way from Wonder Woman, because how important was it to her to have the lasso of truth, to get down to the nitty gritty of what is behind the mask of this evil person, fighting evil. And you've got all these superheroes, which I love. I love the stories of the underdog who is overcoming the evil power. And I think that's a storyline. So it's the hero's journey. And I got that from many places as opposed to just one in particular.
I love that. Love that. And out of the hero journey, what were the qualities you were seeking for of that hero that you want to emulate for yourself?
Yeah, I think integrity is the biggest one. It's missing so it's almost emotional for me how much integrity is missing from today's society, which is now, and as you go back into time and you read our classics, I'm not all the way back to Plato. You go back in time and you start to read about what plagued them, the great thinkers of our past, and it hasn't really changed. That's sad. I find that sad. Yeah. So the integrity and that it's so far vastly different between the average person and the hero is only a hero because they're full of integrity. Mm-hmm. That means anybody can choose to be the hero.
Yes. Yeah. What was the smallest thing you've done that had the biggest impact in your life so far?
Self-love. The smallest thing is not seen by others, is how I'm interpreting the question. It's something, in other words, it's something that I had to do for myself.
Yes.
Was something that I had to do and decide upon for regardless of who saw it. Mm-hmm. But I've noticed the most comments from others as a result of me having those boundaries, understanding that choices, everyday choices matter, and the appreciation they have in hindsight. And sometimes I hear from people I've never met. Oh, you've changed my life. I was going through a difficult time. I saw you on a podcast talking about depression. I don't know what I would have done without you. And that to me is quite something. I'm just being me. I'm sharing what I have, and I'm hopeful that it's picked up and used.
Yeah, totally. You never know who is watching. You never know who is listening, and the stories could be a page in someone else's survival guide, the stories that we share. And that's why this podcast is here to bring back hope by sharing stories of people like yourself and sharing tools to help heal. And speaking of healing, when we hadn't started earlier, you mentioned how things actually heal.
Exactly. Yeah. So starting out with all the ways I know how to make a body unhealthy. just watch all the commercials, do all of the fad diets, take every supplement that is advertised to help you with this, that, and the other. So when we chase down our symptoms, whether they are physical symptoms or emotional symptoms or mental or spiritual, so anything on that holistic, let's call it a stick, the scale from the physical body all the way to the spiritual. Whenever we play whack-a-mole with our symptoms, oh, I need a soul retrieval, so I'm just going to do that. Oh, I need more vitamin B, so I'm just going to take that. If you don't know the bigger picture and how the body actually heals and how they're all related, and true holistic healing means that they reflect one another, you're missing out. I find a number of people. So let's talk about this. Like, how does the body actually, how does the spirit actually heal? It heals the same way on all aspect levels. There's an environment that is ideal for each of those areas. And the ideal levels have to do with, if you give your body, your spirit, what it needs, it can heal itself. And then the next obvious question is, well, how do you know what the body needs? How do you know what spirit needs? There's tests for that. So it's bringing in science. You know, if for spirituality, the testing is having a practitioner come in and give you muscle testing, right? So you can tune into a person and find out what's going on. Are they hexed? Are they cursed? Are they spelled? Do they need a soul retrieval? Do they have ancestral interference? Do they have, like, all of these things, they can play a part on each other. And oftentimes people have, for example, if you've had a soul retrieval and they go, oh, Eva, I've had soul retrievals before, they don't work. Well, did you know that a demon can actually, in an agreement with you, if you've ever done it, and this is just an example, people who have gone on plant medicine journeys usually end up with a piece of their soul missing because it's an agreement. I know, raise of the eyebrow. And so they take a piece of the soul and they hold on to it. And they're like, yep, you agreed to give this to me, so I got you, boop, in my pocket. So the person who is doing the soul retrieval has to know to go in and do an exorcism first. Okay, so it's not about playing whack-a-mole of just doing an exorcism. Now you just need to do soul retrieval after that. And maybe there's ancestral interference. And sometimes they're all wrapped together like a big Gordian knot. And so you need to have that understanding of environment. And that's what I bring into the table. So physical body's the same thing. I watch too many people. They come to me just the same way that I did it. I'm not judging and saying you're doing it wrong and permanently you're stupid. It's more like this is human. This is what we're taught to do. It makes sense. You have a problem, you take it to the doctor draws your blood. He or she says, hey, your blood looks normal. Everything's within normal range. But you still feel off. So you're going after the headaches, you're going after the wrinkles with, the creams, you're going after the fertility problems, you have emotional dysregulation because of the hormone dysregulation, and you have digestive problems, and the number of foods you can eat went from here to suddenly I'm allergic to all of this, and I can't have, milk, and I can't have nuts, and I can't have wheat, and I can't have, and the list goes on. People come to me with, Eva, I can only eat 10 things. I don't feel good, and I feel like I've got entities. And the first things are, well, maybe the person's a little bit crazy. Well, I would be too if I had all of that going on. So we test hair, and do a mineral balancing workup to see what the body is doing, what kind of environment do we have that we're working with. And when you give the body what it needs based on that scientific information, we can then get rid of, naturally turn on what I call the healing cascades. This body then does the same thing as your computer does when you're downloading and installing a piece of software. It downloads it first, right? So your body has to create that energy. The energy comes from your food, from your lifestyle, from making those choices, the self-love choices, right? So am I drinking enough water? Am I getting enough rest during the day? Am I sleeping? Different than rest. Am I eating whole foods? Like, stop eating meal replacements and shakes and smoothies. It's not healthy for this body. This 3D body needs whole food. It needs to chew it. And then supplementation, because our food no longer has the nutrients it needs in order to heal. We must supplement. And it's not a guessing game. It becomes something very easy. We take care of what the body needs based on science. And when we do that, the environment adjusts. And the problems that you have, the chronic issues, chronic fatigue, anxiety, insomnia, depression, fibromyalgia, itchy skin, heart palpitations, short-term memory loss, and the list goes on, hypothyroidism, etc., high blood pressure, low blood pressure, you name it, cholesterol problems, they're all chronic. They can be healed when we give the body what it needs, and it will go to work. So It goes into these 4 stages of healing. And I could give you all of that, but I've already given you a lot. So it's like the idea is that we can turn on what I call the healing cascades, and the body then takes care of what it needs to, supports the energy flow for the emotional healing. And you open up the mind for the mental healing and maturity. And then you have the space and the energy flow for the spiritual healing. They all work together.
Totally. I love that. And would you say physical body is the last in the cascade? Once you heal your spiritual stuff, then no?
No, it depends on where the trauma has occurred. So if you were in a car accident per se, then the car accident is going to give you a couple of things. You're going to have an epigenetic memory and an imprint of that moment, right? And your body's going to always go, every time you get into a car or see a car that's the same color as the one that hit you, you're going to have some sort of trauma event. That's emotional. But then you have and that may take longer to heal than the physical body. Say that you got a concussion or a whiplash. That might take 6 months to a year to heal, depending on, what all is related and going on and how well you do the process of healing. But the emotional side has its stuff too. And it can get stuck. It can get stuck in your emotional body layer. And that you need work to get it out. You have to process it. So if that isn't healed, then you could still be thinking about the PTSD can still be going on well into your, 2 or 3 decades later, still holding you back and still giving you memory of it and still causing problems with your body. So yeah, you never really can just focus on the where it started, but you want to see where it ripples to and make sure that you stay on top of all of it. It's not easy. It's messy work. It really is messy being human. It really is. Yeah.
Yes. So it's on case by case approach. It's not kind of a general thing.
I'll give you an example. So I was having problems with my right hip, and the same woman that I used to see, do I have an attachment? What's going on with my ex-husband? She was doing some body work on me, and she goes, you know that you have a black hole in the left hip of your auric field? And I went, how would I have known that? So, so she was tuning into the energy of it. There's information you can follow, like a little fishing line you can follow and get the information out of it. So she did that, and I learned how to do that. And she says, yeah, you have something in your ancestral that was passed to you as a pain in your hip. So I ended with her, and I went to go see my dad, and I was on an aside conversation with him. I says, do you know of anybody in the family who had a problem with their left hip? And he was thinking for a minute, and the word crushed come to her mind. So I shared it with my dad. I says, anybody had a crushed hip? And he goes, oh yeah. One of my cousins, when we were on the farm in Rhode Island, a tractor turned over on him and crushed him and killed him, and on his left hip. Yeah. I then was able to clear the energy knowing that, and the auric field was then healed. So it's very interesting how things show up. You could have that physical hip pain went away, but it had nothing to do with my physical body, my physical life experience. And that's why ancestral wound healing is something that needs to be done in addition. You could be having the same body parts manipulated by a chiropractor week after week after year, and every time you come back, he's like, well, it's in the same position it was last time. Let's fix it again. That's a clue. Something bigger is afoot.
Ah.
Yeah.
Wow. I love that. Love that stuff. What is your superpower, if you have to pick one?
Oh, the one I love the most, I'm on the spectrum. I'm on the autism spectrum, squarely in the a middle ground. People go, no, you're not. I'm like, yeah, it's there. It really is. And I'm dyslexic too, in a big way. And so my superpower in that, though, is that I can see the related, and what most people cannot see are related. So I can connect the dots, especially among different industries, and see how they do relate to each other. For like my technology is an intuition. I love computers. I've always loved computers. I see naturally how systems work. That's my human design is systems. And when it comes to spirituality, I can then take the old ancient wisdom of spirituality and those healing technologies and amplify them using today's physical technology. And so putting the two things together that seem unrelated, that's my gift.
So integration.
Yeah, it's a good word. Yes.
Awesome. I love that. If somebody would describe you in 3 words, what would they say?
I'd give you one. Enigma.
Enigma.
Yes.
Please elaborate.
I think that's part of what Enigma is all about, is this thing that really can't be pigeonholed, right? It's someone who cannot just, you can't settle on one label with me. I find a lot of men who try to date me have been extremely frustrated because they can't put me into like are you friend? Are you lover? Are you mistress? Are you wife? And I'm like, yes. Stop trying to limit me. Like it's yes, and yeah.
I love that. I don't know who said, I watched an interview once that the way men think versus women, men have compartments and they gotta place you in the box so that
Yeah.
they can know who you are. And with women, we are integrated. We think this thing and how it connects to that thing, and it's always on.
Yeah, that's true.
What do you want to create next? Any fun projects you're working on that you like to share?
Well, yeah, I just got back from Belize. We were talking about that before hitting record, and I did some sessions on healing. And this individual, she says, I want more empowerment. I feel like I'm constantly being knocked down by energies and spirit guides or coming in and out without my permission. And let's lock that down. So we spent 9 days in the middle of the Belizean jungle and did that for her, worked on some healings, got her some new integrations, some new activations, and got her sorted with, you know, all kinds of spirit help, and was fabulous. And so I really enjoy that work, as we talked about before. And now that I'm home, literally 3 days, you know, I came back on Sunday night, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, today, and I was inspired to repeat that in a new event. I'm going to be putting together an Alaskan cruise for 6 lucky people to experience a similar thing in August of 2025. So this is my new little project that I'm putting together, is to offer this same type of healing, of empowerment, spiritual and physical empowerment, for 6 people to come with me to Alaska. I love cruising. Mm-hmm. I think it's amazing. You get to unpack once and then see many different places, and travel is fantastic. And being on the water, love that too. So yeah, that's my next project.
Awesome. I love that. Sounds exciting. Anything I haven't asked that you would like to share?
No, I want to repeat that whole underlying message that the most important thing to do is to really learn to love yourself. And people get very confused about what is love. And I had time, because, you know, where I was in the middle of the jungle, there was no signal. So I had time for this and really thinking about what is love. And love comes down to, it's a need. It's a need that we offer and fulfill ourselves. And it comes down to the everyday choices in what we put into our mouths, where we place ourselves among the other people, what kind of influences do we allow in ourselves to be around, and what do we bring for ourselves to give to others to feel good. And I think that's the biggest thing to take away from this conversation. Love yourself first.
I love that. Totally. It's all, we come into this world by ourselves and we leave this world by ourselves, and think the most important relationship is with ourselves, and learning how to take care of our own needs, and not, waiting for somebody else to make us happy. It is our job to make ourselves happy. And then if we have something greater, somebody comes along, a partner or a business or a new home, it's just like a cherry on top, because you already fulfilled with who you are, with where you are, with how you are growing, how you are evolving, what you are learning, and how you're sharing your gifts that you have acquired on this journey of life. So totally love what you're doing. Your message and your transformation is magical, and I love speaking with you, and I think I can speak with you for hours.
And I would love to, but yeah, we have to stop somewhere, right? But thank you so much for allowing me to share. This has been a great deal of fun for me.
Thank you.